What happens when an entire society shuns their oppressors? In South Africa, shunning helped break one of the 20th century's most entrenched authoritarian systems, all through the simple, powerful message: we will not be part of this. And that's the quiet courage that authoritarians fear the most. This is a story about ordinary people with extraordinary refusal. Sometimes the quietest rebellion is the one authoritarians hear the loudest. Tonight's story is about a woman who never stormed a government building, but still helped shake an authoritarian regime. Her name, Nomsa Dlamini, Soweto resident, mother, seamstress, and part of the quietest army South Africa ever mustered, the army of people who refuse to acknowledge their oppressors. Every afternoon, around 4:30, the Special Branch Police would roll into Nomsa's street. Officially, they were gathering intelligence. Unofficially, they were trying to look important. Nomsa's response? She didn't even flick an ear in their direction.
I don't greet devils.
Which is not only an appropriate response, but is a total power move. And the whole street followed the code, not formally, not written down, just understood. When police walked by, shopkeepers stopped stocking, kids ran inside, men turned their backs, women looked at the sky, anywhere but the officers. The message was louder than a march. You do not belong here. You ever seen grown men with rifles look insecure? South Africa has. One day, an Mpimpi, a state informant, came into Nomsa's sewing shop. He asked for his shirt to be mended. Nomsa smiled politely and asked,
"Why should I serve someone who betrays the community?"
Customers clapped silently. Silent clapping was a thing. Very efficient. Zero noise. Maximum humiliation. This is petty righteousness. Then there was Councillor Mbele, a local black official appointed by the apartheid government. He tried to hold a community meeting. Nobody came. By 1985, councillors like Mbele were resigning across the country because nobody respected them. Nomsa and her neighbours had seen arrests, raids, disappearances, beatings. Fighting openly would have been a death sentence. But shunning? That was safe, collective, quiet, and devastatingly effective. It robbed the regime of the one thing it desperately needed: legitimacy. You can't rule a community that refuses to acknowledge your existence. Ask any autocrat. They hate that. Between the 1960s and early 1990s, the apartheid system relied on security police, special branch interrogators, local informants, Mpimpis, black local councillors, seen as collaborators, government-installed township administrators. These people held very real power: arrests, raids, torture, past law enforcement. But socially, they were radioactive. The shunnings were documented widely in township oral histories, works by historians, and the Truth and Reconciliation Commission archives. Suspected informants were avoided in markets, excluded from funerals, and isolated by neighbours. And black councillors like Mbele? Communities saw them as illegitimate, and refused to welcome them or their business. No more church or any community at all. The moment the church aunties cut you off, even the apartheid government can't save you. But the fun wasn't limited to shunning apartheid collaborators in the streets. Civilians understood the power of the purse. Civilians ignored apartheid-aligned businesses, shunned council offices, and abandoned state-run structures. By 1985, the regime declared whole townships ungovernable, not because of guerrillas, but because civilians simply refused to participate. When an entire township goes, "We're not vibing with this government anymore," dictatorships start to panic. And across authoritarian systems, shunning emerges for 3 reasons. 1. It's safer than open rebellion. You can't always fight tanks, but you can refuse to talk to the people enforcing them. 2. Shunning removes legitimacy. Authoritarian power depends on the illusion of authority. When communities freeze out collaborators, they become socially meaningless. And 3. Humans treat oppression as moral pollution. Anthropology 101. When someone crosses a moral boundary, especially by aiding violence, communities cleanse themselves by isolating the violator. I mean, even goddamn elephants are pushed out of herds if an individual disrupts herd stability. It's basically society saying, your vibes are off, extremely off. But authoritarian power feeds on recognition, salutes, fearful eye contact, and forced politeness. Take that away, and suddenly the regime starts to feel very small. Nomsa didn't topple apartheid alone, but she helped starve it, and when enough ordinary people withdraw their consent, history shifts. So let's give a thumbs up to the ones who refused to clap, refused to greet, and refused to pretend.